Good morning, everyone. Welcome all of you in the Professor Vijay Trivedi Memorial Lecture arranged here in the Champato Institute of English Training and Research. Dignitaries on the dais, the Secretary of Charutar Vidya Mandal and the guide of all of us, Dr. S.G. Patel sir, today's eminent speaker, Professor Karnam Pushpanandam sir, the former director of H.M. Patel Institute of English Training and Research and today's guest of honor, Dr. Jadeja sir, principal of the institute, Dr. Mayur Pramar sir, president of the Students' Assembly, Dr. Megha Patel ma'am, all my colleagues, students, research scholars, alumni, and everyone sitting here. Once again, a very warm welcome to all. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all to this solemn, intellectually enriching occasion, the Professor Vijay Trivedi Memorial Lecture, organized by our institute, which is affiliated with Sardar Patel University under the esteemed aegis of Charutar Vidya Mandal. Today we gather not only to deliberate upon higher education and national development, but also to pay homage to the enduring legacy of late Professor Vijay Trivedi sir, whose contribution to the education continues to inspire generations. You must be knowing that Professor Vijay Trivedi sir, he was one of the the first English teachers in Gujarat, and all the English teachers, the seniors also that we find today, happen to be his disciples, his students. So he's a Guru Nam Guru, and in his memory we are arranging all these lectures. So to initiate this particular occasion, I request students to play the institutional anthem, and we shall all rise at our places. Thank you very much. Please be seated. And now I welcome our principal.
We are all here for Professor Vijay Memorial Lecture. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the dignitaries on the dais. I begin with Dr. S.G. Patel sir. He is the Honorary Secretary of Charutar Vidya Mandal. He started his career as a school teacher, and afterwards he became the professor at Department of Physics, Sardar Patel University. He has participated in several national and international conferences and seminars and published more than 70 research papers in scholarly journals. He has successfully completed 5 major research projects. Under his guidance, a high-pressure physics laboratory was established at Department of Physics of Sardar Patel University. This particular is the only center in the state of Gujarat to study electrical and optical characteristics of material at ultra high pressure. Based upon his achievement, He was awarded the Most Influential Scientist of the Decade award by American Biographical Institute USA. He also received Bharat Jyoti Award of International Indian Friendship Society, New Delhi. Looking to his zeal and love for society to popularize science, he was appointed as the first honorary director of C.C. Patel Community Science Center established by Sardar Patel University, which is granted by the Gujarat Council of Science and Technology, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat. He remained very active member with the Rotary Club of Vallabh Vidyanagar and other such social organizations. He is a true devotee and lifetime student of Prajapita Brahma Kumari's Ishwariya Vishwavidyalaya. After his retirement, so since July 2008, he has been offering his services to Charutar Vidyamandal as the honorary secretary. He is in charge of overseeing all the various schools and colleges run by Charutar Vidyamandal, and he provides necessary guidance to all of us. Sir, we are all delighted to welcome you. We have Professor Karanam Pushpanadham from Faculty of Education and Psychology, Maharaja Sayajirao University, as the eminent speaker who is going to deliver Professor Vijay Trivedi Memorial Lecture today. If I say something about him, Professor Pushpanadham is a distinguished professor in the field of education management at Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, Gujarat. He currently leads the Department of Educational Administration at the university. His work spans over 30 years, contributing extensively to research, teaching, and community outreach in education. He has guided several PhD scholars and served as a consultant on several educational initiatives, particularly in teacher development and leadership. He was born in a traditional Kapu teacher's family and was educated in Andhra Pradesh. In addition to his work in India, Professor Pushpanadham has held visiting professorships at international institutions such as Stockholm University in Sweden, Aarhus University in Denmark, University of Cork, Ireland, and many universities in Thailand. He has been involved in various projects including collaborations on global citizenship education and rural transformation through education. He is the international coordinator of a research network on digitization of higher education at the ASEM LLL Hub and representing the DAAD at the Asia-Europe meeting on lifelong learning. He has visited several countries and addressed academic forums and research collaborative meetings. He addressed more than 500 academic conferences and seminars across the globe, visited more than 20 countries, and published books and journals in the area of educational management. Currently is working in the area of education for global citizenship with the Swedish Council for Higher Education, Education for Rural Transformation with Government of India, and Educational Leadership and Management with the University of Teacher Education, Switzerland. He is also a member of several prestigious academic bodies including NCTE, NAC, NCRT, and so on. He is involved with NIFT as well, and he serves on the editorial boards of multiple national and international academic journals. I have about 5 pages that can reflect how stalwart he is, but considering that time constraint, I will restrict myself. Sir, the Institute Parivar is delighted to welcome you. We have Dr. R.P. Jadeja sir. I am sure he does not require any introduction. Former director of this institute, my mentor, my guru. What can I say about Jadeja sir? At Charusat also I said that I am out of my lexical resources. But sir, we are really happy that even after retirement, his constant guidance is there. He motivates us. He instigates us. Go for this. Try this. Why don't you do this? Sir, we are very happy that you agreed to come here. And on behalf of HM Patel Parivar, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayur sir. And after this verbal welcome, I would request the dignitaries for the floral welcome. First of all, in order to welcome Dr. H.C. Patel sir, I request Mayur sir to welcome him with a floral. Thank you, sir. I request S.G. Patel, sir, to welcome Professor Karanam Pushpanadam, sir, with a bouquet. Thank you, sir. Now I request Megha madam to welcome Mayur sir. Sorry, Jared sir. I'm sorry. Thank you. I request our student representative Sharmin to welcome Mayur sir. I request Parinda ma'am. Thank you very much. And now, without wasting much time, I request Professor Karanam Pushpanadam sir to address the gathering. Thank you very much, sir.
Very good morning to all of you. Respected Professor S.G. Patel Sahab, Professor Jadeja Sahab, the Principal of the College, Dr. Mayur Parmarji, and the Madam, and all the distinguished teachers of the great institution, H.M. Patel Institution, and my dear students. Coming to this institution is like coming to our own institution, because MS University of Baroda and H.M. Patel Institute are having a close relationships, and those relationships were nurtured by Professor Jadeja Sahab right from the my student days about education quality and also the teacher preparation. I think the thinkers on education can only cultivate that culture, and only that culture shapes the institution. And we are very happy that those thinkers, Patel Sahab and Jadeja Sahab, are present here in this very, very important program, Professor Ajay Trivedi Sahab's Memorial Lecture. I consider this as a great opportunity because it is not only in the memory of Professor Ajay Trivedi Sahab, his contribution to English language, contribution to teacher education, but also the kind of identity through his life he has given to teaching as a profession. And therefore today is a very important day. We are actually recalling his contributions and also celebrating the teacherhood, which is a very, very important to transform any particular the nation. The teachers are very important. It was invariably talked about various educational policies. Kothari Commission says that the destiny of nation is being shaped in the classrooms. The destiny is not by dreaming it. Destiny is not by talking about it again and again, but the destiny is shaped in the classrooms with every movement, every interaction of the teachers and their dispositions in the classrooms. And we also know that no nation can rise above the teachers. These are very, very important statements which actually tells us again and again our roles and responsibilities in shaping this world a better place to live. Friends, when Dr. Parmar was asking me to come and address this, without any second thought, I said I'll be coming here. Why? Because H.M. Patel Institution is known for teacher preparation, not only in the state of Gujarat, but in the state of, in the entire the country. Wherever you go, the kind of English teachers, English teacher educators, and the kind of innovative approaches they practice, they have become the models of English language teaching in the state and also in the country. So today, I thought I must discuss with you about in the area, in the domain of education, where we stand, where we are. And what are we listening every day through various mediums? And what are the discourses that are happening in the domain of education especially? We all know that there are few words which we frequently listening. One is Vikasit Bharat. 1947 we got independence. At the time of independence, what we were, the number of institutions, the kind of problems, challenges and issues, we are all very familiar with. And we are about to reach the 2047, completing 100 years of independence. We have come out with some kind of the developmental phases, the trajectory of progress, and we coined it as Vikasit Bharat. And therefore today I thought we as educators, having those roles and responsibilities of shaping the world, shaping the society, shaping the nation, must critically understand what actually we mean by this Viksit Bharat. And in English, usually we talk about discourse and we do discourse analysis. We also talk about the narrations. Therefore, I have done a little research to present before you what are these narrations of Viksit Bharat. These narrations, what it actually convey, and therefore we must derive certain responsibilities, the tasks within our institutional setup, within our individual setups. Therefore we become the part of transformative India. So friends, along with Viksit Bharat, we also listen quite often about what you call Atmanirbharata. We also see that national education policy, the vision about the India as a global knowledge superpower. So these terminologies are not merely the words that we again and again say, but these words are essentially awake our responsibilities, remind our responsibilities to see that how these things can be seen in the future. So friends, imagination is an essential input for any education. Therefore, we have been reimagining education, reimagining teacher education. So what we imagine today will be seen tomorrow. When I was entering into the Nobel Museum, which is in Sweden, It says, what you see today was once imagined. What a wonderful statement it is. What you see today, anything that you witness today, they were all imagined. They actually were in the minds of those thinkers of that time. And they got different shapes, different forms, and today they are the reality. So friends, imagination is a very, very important thing. If Viksit Bharat is an imagination today, Atmanirbhar Bharat is an imagination today, Transformative India is an imagination today, this is certainly going to be the reality in the future. And at the same time, we also need to remember, things will not happen on their own. They only happen with our consistent efforts, intelligent efforts, and giving the intelligence, the time, and all kind of resources that we have, focusing about this mission, and this is going to be the reality. So when I was having these narratives of Viksit Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Transformative India, I have come across certain very important riders for all of us as educational practitioners. If I see from the academic narrative, it is not a political narrative, it is not a social narrative, but if you see from the academic narrative, it essentially talks about preparing human resources with adequate knowledge, skills, attitude, and habits, and prepare them to be the part of this particular mission. And therefore, n number of things come into this fold. It talks about the curriculum, it talks about the teaching and learning process, it talks about the institutional culture, it talks about the research ecosystems that we have it, and it essentially talks about our conscious engagement into the entire process of rebuilding these institutions. Therefore, the academic narrations, the narratives of Viksit Bharat basically provides certain very important the key roles that we need to play. And if you talk about the social narratives, it talks about the equity, inclusion, where you have a lot of diversity within the systems, and how to make this education, as you talk about, education is equitable, inclusive, flexible, and affordable. Therefore, no child is left behind, and every individual can meet their educational needs within the systems of education. So this is what you talk about, the social narratives of what you Viksit Bharat that you are talking about. And if you look into what you call the economic narratives, it also talks about economic narratives. We want to have this $5 trillion economy. We are aspiring to make this kind of wealth within our country, which we are capable of. And therefore the industrial development. Therefore you talk about the policies which are conducive to make this happen. And you talk about our foreign policy. Therefore, there are a whole set of things when you really understand the what you call the economic narratives of this Viksit Bharat. So friends, when I was looking into this, I realized those narratives are essentially interrelated. They cannot actually happen in isolation. They need to be interrelated, and the only institution which can interrelate these different narratives of Viksit Bharat is education, especially the higher education. And friends, we know our higher education system, which is one of the largest systems in the world. And if you see the enrollment rates, we have almost 29% of gross enrollment ratio in higher education system now. And this 29% gross enrollment rate is not less because we have moved something what you call 2-3% of enrollment of yesterday's, moved from strength to strength and reached to this 29% gross enrollment rate. Therefore, we have focused our attention, our strategy to make the people of this India need to have the access to higher education and need to become human resources, and thereby they need to be the part of the developmental strategy. The second most important is on an average, the median age of Indian population is about 28 years, which is a very, very interesting thing. We feel it is a demographic dividend. Unlike many other countries, the India has a young population, therefore we consider young India. Unlike Europe, unlike Japan, where there is an aging population. Therefore, with the young population within the country, it also becomes the responsibility of the institutions to make this large young population, youth, as a dividend, not as a liability. I think this is one important thing that we as teachers, we as educational, working with education institutions need to think about. How to make this demographic dividend as a resource to transform India, not as a liability coming out the pressing challenges and the issues. So friends, keeping all these things from the academic narrations, the only source that is in front of us is National Education Policy 2020. The policy came to our forefront almost 35 years. And this policy actually presents a vision, presents a picture on a larger canvas about how India can become Viksit Bharat through the education and educational, the operations that we have it. So, the concern is, when you talk about NEP 2020, in education all across, teacher education in specific, higher education, they have come out with very significant inputs for the future-ready youth, future-ready individuals. So the first thing they talk about, our education need to develop the skills and competencies among the students. Probably this is one important the task, objective of any higher education. We must focus on skills and competencies of the young population that's coming to higher education. Therefore, they can be easily integrated with the national economic, the progress of the country. So why this has become a concern? Friends, believe me that our stakeholders at large have lost faith and confidence in our products of higher education today. Probably we see that when we listen to people, whether you industrial organizations or anywhere that our graduates go for the employment. So we could listen from them that there is a decrease in their confidence and the faith in the products of higher education. And this is alarming to all education institutions today. So why this kind of a gap? Why this is what you call unconnected, the dots that we have between the institution and the stakeholders. Therefore, this education policy that we have today has given a clear mandate that our educational operations in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, must directly link to what is required in the larger society. And therefore, it talks about we must break the isolation, institutional isolation, and promote collaboration. Collaboration between the institutions and the collaboration between the institution and the industries. Therefore, what we teach in the institutions have greater relevance, and therefore our youth can really come forward and contribute to the development. So as a result, we all know all levels of education, whether you talk about preparatory stage, the foundational, preparatory, the middle and the secondary stages, there is the curriculum revamping, mapping the curriculum with the concepts to competencies, and the competencies to the capacities, and the capacities to what they can contribute in the larger canvas. And when you come to higher education, we know that the government of Gujarat, the Gujarat Knowledge Commission, aligning with NAP 2020, has clearly made certain what you call instructions, certain advices for every higher education institution need to focus on this. Whether you talk about the major minor subjects used to be the major part of the academic activity. But friends, if you critically look into the curriculum inputs, along with the major subjects and the minor subjects, we also have the value addition courses. Value added courses. We have a skill enhancement courses. And we have a practicum, the internships, on-job training. And we also have the Indian rootedness in terms of the Indian knowledge systems, Bharat knowledge systems. So all these things really shape what we teach in the institutional perspectives. We are not really making or preparing our students for the examination-oriented teaching learning process, but we are actually preparing our students to be future-ready human resources. Therefore, the skill enhancement courses, value addition courses, and the on-job trainings, these are recommended. So at this juncture, I would like to say that no policy can be successful. Policies are not really are written and therefore they become successful. However, the noble, sophisticated policies you prepare, we prepare, everything comes to nothing unless and until we understand the spirit of it and practice in our classrooms. Thereby, friends, we have that responsibility to understand the essence of these narratives and become the active part in contributing it, whatever the way that we can. And the second most important aspect is multidisciplinary. Probably you listen frequently when you talk about NAP 2020. NAP promotes multidisciplinary curriculum. NAP promotes multidisciplinary research. What this multidisciplinary really represents? Is it going away from disciplinary orientation or strengthening the disciplinary orientation by understanding the disciplines around it, and therefore you derive some kind of strengths to address the problems that we are facing? So the multidisciplinarity has become an essential input for transformative India. Why? Because the problems that we are encountering, whether you talk about the COVID issues, you talk about the climate issues, you talk about the ethics, morals, all these things cannot be addressed with a single disciplinary knowledge. We need to have a multidisciplinary approach to understand the problems. And at the same time, to come out with alternative solutions, not in a monodisciplinary perspective, but in a multidisciplinary ideas. And therefore, the teacher education institutions are also recommended to transform into a multidisciplinary institutions, which NEP is talking about. I am very happy to know that this H.M. Patel institution has already making efforts to translate this institution into a vibrant multidisciplinary institution in the future to come. And the other important aspect is the research ecosystem we have. Is not only the knowledge utilization, but knowledge creation. Probably the other levels of education use knowledge, but higher education, we need to create knowledge. This is one important responsibility that we have it. So how to create that knowledge? The creation of knowledge through our consistent research efforts. And these research efforts, not only the monodisciplinary research, but also the interdisciplinary research, can come out with alternative solutions to address the pertinent problems that we have today. So friends, when I talk about research, the research output is not so satisfactory in our country as on date. So when I talk very specifically the research output, if I see very specifically in terms of the research projects, research publications that we do, and also the impact that we make on a larger scale, you talk in terms of policy or in terms of practice, our visibility is not so satisfactory, especially in higher education system. And the moment you talk about this issue with the practitioners, they basically talk about the research ecosystem which is not conducive for people to actually conduct research. I think, friends, looking into a larger higher education system, 1,500 plus universities we have in this country, 45,000 colleges we have in this country. Therefore, what is most important is institutional capacity building. How institutions can really generate that kind of a funding which is essential. And this is possible when you establish credibility of your research and the funding almost comes to you. So the industries are ready to establish the research cells, and a lot of agencies are interested, provided you formulate that research which is credible and that research which makes an impact to society over a period of time. So the research is an important part, innovation is an important part, and the government policies are proactive in this direction. You know, today we have the Atal Tinkering Labs to infuse those research competencies among the students right from the schooling. And we have the startups established across the universities. And there is an initial funding that young scholars can come with an idea, and these ideas can be incubated, provided some support, the expert advisors, and therefore you can scale it up in the larger. So developing that creativity, developing that spirit of innovation, developing that critical thinking, and developing that kind of what you call the knowledge base which can be applied not only for our country but also globally. I think this is one of the very important responsibility and thought process for making Viksit Bharat to happen. So friends, I will end my presentation by sensitizing you one very, very important aspect. That aspect is the social and emotional well-being of our students. The situation is very, very the danger, especially in higher education. I'm talking about the social and emotional well-being. I was doing some sort of research in this rapid expansion of institutions and thinking for making higher education accessible to everyone, increasing the 50% of class enrollment ratio by 2035, giving this multidisciplinary education focus on research, digitalization. The core aspect which we need to focus today is quality of life and social and emotional well-being. Friends, if I give you some important figures, the dropout rates in higher education today, we only talk about dropouts in schools. I think abhi schools to sudhar gaya hai. The actual problem is coming to higher education. The recent report says in higher education, 35,000 students every year drop out from the system, which is a very, very alarming. And on an average, the suicide rate is about 35 students are committing suicides in our institutions, our higher education institutions, which is a very, very sad part of it. And the reasons for this, the reasons for dropouts, the reasons for not having this social emotional balance, along with many other, the academic pressure is one. The second one is the mental health, isolation and loneliness, and emotional imbalance. And therefore, we really need to switch our position as a teacher. Not merely the delivery of the content, encouraging them to do research, but we also need to focus about the holistic development of our students. 35,000 students in a year committing suicide is not a small number. And maybe somewhere, some other, we have to think, are we the part of making the system of this kind? To what extent I am in a position to provide that mental support to our children, our students in higher education? Our helping hand could save few lives, and therefore a teacher need to be a humane teacher. And only humane teachers, along with their intellectual stimulation, intellectual capacities, can create Viksit Bharat. And once again, I am very thankful for inviting me here, and I am fortunate to deliver Professor Vijay Trivedi Saab's the memorial lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We are really deeply honored to have an academician of our national repute, an educationalist or vision, and a scholar whose work is significantly influenced higher education. Sir, I really very attentively heard whatever you said. It was really enlightening speech in the sense that you also introduced to us various narratives about Viksit Bharat. What is the role of an educational institute to bring these dreams come true? What is the role of teachers in particular? It was really insightful and we all are inspired by it, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Mayur sir to present a memento on behalf of the institution to the eminent speaker of today. Thank you very much, sir. Friends, guidance from visionary leadership gives direction to academic aspirations. It is now my honor to invite Dr. S.G. Patel, sir, the Secretary of Charutar Vidya Mandir, the trust that runs this esteemed institute, to deliver the presidential address.
Good morning to all present over here. Worthy guest of the day and Dr. Jadeja, Mayur Bhai, Megha Ben, and all of you, the budding teachers. It is my pleasure to be here with you all this morning to listen to a wonderful speech given by Padmanabhan. He tried to describe the present scenario of the education, at the same time, the days to come, what will be the challenges for the new academic systems. He tried to convince you that you will be teacher, what will be the challenges and how to face it to overcome. This day, in all the education system, may have little or more disturbances. During that period, we are all supposed to be stable and go ahead with the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Friends, you got knowledge with wisdom to go ahead, and bless you all with these few words. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. And now, before I invite Megha Madam for the vote of thanks, I want to grab this opportunity because I see Patel sir is also here. And what you said, sir, about multidisciplinary approach and need of innovation. Recently, our institution has made its name by showing the talent that we have. Actually, there had been a competition of budding innovators in BP Science College, sir. And semester 2 students were 55 in number. Out of them, 6 students participated in it. And one of the students, I would like Jagdish to stand up, please. He won second prize. As a budding innovator. So all belong to science background, and he was the art student of English literature and then English language teaching. He won second prize. And he, as you said, that what we see today was emerging ones. So his imagination was also extraordinary, and all the other 5 participants, they all had something extraordinary. So I really express my gratitude for.
May I request him to come forward, please?
Yeah, Mr. Jagdish.
So I would like to
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Megha madam, please.
Dignitary on the dais and dignitary of the dais, and all my dear students. At the outset, on behalf of HM Patel Institute of English Training and Research, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has contributed to the success of the program, that is of Professor Vijay Trivedi Memorial Lecture on the theme Vikshit Bharat, Pathways to Excellence in Higher Education. We are deeply grateful to our chairman, sir, Engineer Bhikhubai Patel, sir, for his constant guidance. I take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to our president of the function, Dr. S.G. Patel, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are deeply indebted to our eminent speaker, Professor Pushpanathan, sir, for delivering an insightful, thought-provoking, and inspiring lecture. Sir's scholarly perspectives and rich academic experience have truly enriched our understanding of excellence and innovation in higher education. We are immensely thankful to you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you, sir. I would like to offer our sincere gratitude to Dr. R.P. Jadeja, sir, for his valuable presence, for gracing the occasion. Thank you so much, sir. On this juncture, I would like to thank Dr. Kirit Trivedi, a son of Professor Vijay Trivedi, who could not make it possible to attend the function here due to some medical emergency. So we would like to express our sincere gratitude to him as well. We are thankful to our principal, Dr. Mayur Parmar, sir, for his constant support, leadership and encouragement in organizing such meaningful academic programs. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks to the organizing committee, staff members of the institute, students whose dedicated efforts and teamwork ensured the smooth conduct of this program. With these words, once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to one and all present here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Megha madam. And now, at the end, we shall all rise at our places for national anthem.
हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
भारत माता की
जय।